Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the Moon Scarab channel. My name is Ramon, and welcome to another episode of In Orbit With, a show in which we talk with people from our spiritual community about life, divination, and more. If you're here for the first time, welcome. And if you've been here before, thank you for coming back and joining us in. We're simulcasting on both our channels, Moon Scarab and Roots and Waves. So thank you for everybody who's watching. If you're subscribed to my channel, and you're not subscribed to Roots and Waves, the link is below. Please visit her channel. Her content is amazing. Welcome, Ange, to our show.
Thank you. Thank you, Ramon. I love this show, so I'm so pumped to be here. And just a quick plug, if you are watching this on Roots and Waves, please head over to Moon Scarab. It's pinned to the top of my chat. We want to support each other. He's hosting, so please um, give him a subscribe as well. So thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. And, this show has been long overdue. We've been talking
Yeah.
about, uh, having you here because you're a person who is really loved within our community. Your messages, your energy are so inspiring, and, the techniques that you use for divination are really interesting as well. And we want to talk a little bit more about everything that you do at your channel. Sounds
Yes.
good?
Sounds good. Yeah.
All right, let's say hi to a few people who are joining us here today. And we have Mama Sushi. Hello, Mama Sushi. Thank you very much for being here.
Hey.
We have Elizabeth from The More Intuitive Me. Hello, thank you for stopping by. We have Sanja. Great seeing you. Thank you for being here as well. Cool intro, right? You'll have yours.
Yes. It was. Yeah.
We have Kaz. Hello. Thank you for being here, Kaz. And like I said, we're simulcasting on both channels. We have Patsy as well. We have John. Hello, John. Great seeing
Yeah.
you. Yes, people are popping in and they're here to see you. So, like I mentioned, your channel's name is Roots and Waves, and I was always fascinated by that title. Can you share with us where the inspiration for the title came from?
Sure. Yeah. So, let's see. I created my channel in 2021, but it was originally called Tiny Trinkets and Tarot. And
Hmm.
that's because I just needed like a fun, catchy name just to put myself out here because I really wanted to be a part of all these conversations that were taking place and all these fun like tags and VRs and things like that. And, I'm a layered reader. I use tarot, oracle, and charms. So the trinket part is for the charms that I use. But,
Hmm.
as I grew, I believe it was 2023, I changed my name to Roots and Waves because I wanted it to better reflect who I am in terms of my growth on my journey, but as well as the content that I wanted to provide on my channel. What started off as maybe just doing like deck flip throughs and just jumping into VRs just to get my feet wet because I really didn't know what I wanted to create. And then as it began to grow as a person and spiritually and really feeling my way around for the content, I recognized I wanted something deeper to represent who I am and what I want to deliver. And so roots are just as it sounds, something that's going to root you into deep within to yourself, within to the earth, with what you believe and what you stand for, but also something that can keep you deeply rooted in terms of when life happens to you, in terms of the waves that can either take you out or they can carry you. You need to be rooted in something so that way, you know what I mean, you can survive anything, right? So to be rooted is to be
Hmm.
strong and to be determined and resilient. And then the wave part of it can obviously mean waves as in ocean waves or sound waves or frequency waves in terms of like vibrations. And so there's all these different sort of interconnected meanings to roots and waves. And the biggest part of the roots part was sort of the mycelium network that lives underground. It's for those that don't know, the fungi that live under the ground. They have like this huge interweb of network that connects to all living things under the ground. And
Hmm.
so, let's say, like a tree down the way has some sort of a disease or sickness, this network will send the nutrients needed to sort of help that tree. And so that is really what I had in my mind when I first created my channel, to create a channel of connection, of community, and support. And I couldn't think of a better way than thinking of the roots and the waves to help us stay strong, resilient, and to support one another through this thing we call life. Yeah.
Wow, that is really deep for a channel title. I love it because I felt that it was like that connection of I felt it to be like more of a, like an earth energy in a way. Thinking about the sea and the land, those
Mhm.
two elements that are very identifiable for both of them. Roots in that case for land and waves for the sea. But
Mhm. Yep.
yeah, very interesting. That was a very deep thought process to be able to select it, but it's beautiful, like it sticks with you. Your channel focuses in divination, correct?
Yes.
Going back in your own personal experience, what was your first encounter with divination in general?
Hmm. My first encounter. Well, I definitely would say that it probably started in my childhood, and I didn't even really know it was called divination at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, I grew up in like the traditional Catholic upbringing in church. I actually had to go to church 6 days a week. So it was quite strict in that way, but not strict where I wasn't able to sort of, feel around for what felt good to me. The only time you weren't allowed to really um question is when you're in the church or in the school, because I had to go to Catholic school. So, I was
Mm,
a curious kid and I wanted to know all the things, but you weren't allowed to question it. But other than
yeah.
that, like in my home life, my parents were just kind of like, hey, you do you. So in terms of divination, I would say, you know, making pictures in the clouds like a typical kid does. But I was also
Mm-hmm.
really intrigued with like wood grains and wallpapers and like finding like images within that and using like sticks and like things in nature to sort of divine with. And then it sort of spread into like these little toys, which I call trinkets, which I now actually use in my divination practice, which are charms. And I still have some of those childhood toys in that collection there. And
Wow.
so, yeah, I was utilizing these things to make stories and sort of do this thing called divination that I didn't know that's what it was at the time. So I would say it stems that far back. But all that to the side, if we're gonna fast forward to like maybe like a card deck for divination, because that's where that sort of re-entered my life, if you will. It was definitely like the late 90s to early 2000s, maybe even like 2002, 2003. And it was Doreen Virtue cards. So that is what sort of drew me in terms of something. Actually, this is my first deck, was the Healing with the Angels. And this is like that old school Hay House, really
Let me.
crappy card
I'm gonna
stock.
put you on
Yeah.
big screen.
Yeah. So this is
Wow.
Doreen Virtue. It's like all shiny and like that old, it even smells like that old card stock. But this,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this is that old this is from like 1999, I believe. I think that's when this one came out. But yeah, so this was my very first deck that I ever had. So this was sort of my entry into card divination, if you will. And I just really, at the time, I really loved Doreen's energy. I loved everything that she stood for. I really enjoyed her angel work, and it was just so powerful. And so of course, I mean, I have all of her decks, but I began to collect her decks. And so I utilized these decks right up until, um, I want to say, I'm trying to think of when I actually got my first tarot deck. Um, because I was at like a seminar of hers, and that's when I got my first tarot deck. But this was many years later. Like this was way early,
Mm-hmm.
like 2000s, and then fast forward, like I don't know, I don't even remember what year it was that I got this. Maybe like 12 years ago now, or 13 years ago
Mm-hmm.
now, or something like that. And I went to one of her angel conferences here in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and I got to meet her in person and Radley Valentine in person. That was a really magical time. Like, I recognize and realize and respect that Doreen has decided to go her own way. But when I tell you that her presence was like a beautiful presence, and Radley Valentine is just like a ball of joy all of his own. So, that persona that they have, oh, you still have that deck. Yes, it's a good one.
Hmm.
It's a good one. Um, yeah, but their persona and their energy is just beautiful. So anyway, but people move on and they have different paths, and that's cool. But yeah, I even have their signatures inside of
Signature
the.
autographed.
So that's it. That's my first hero deck. And once I started to use this and recognize, like, hey, wait a minute, like this doesn't seem like the real tarot, if you will, because they changed a lot of the names in
Hmm.
here. And so after that, I decided to, get the real deal, or what I thought was the real deal. And I got
Hmm.
the plaid back. And so this is like
Right
my
away.
tried and
Yes.
true. And yeah, this one is so old, like it's got all the grubby edges and everything, because this one goes everywhere with me. So,
Uh-huh.
and this is really where I began to deep dive. I mean, not that you can't with Doreen's, but it's a different frequency, let's just say.
Hmm.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with the angel energy and all that positive stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. But I realized like there was something missing, and at the time, I was watching YouTube, watching people on YouTube, but it really wasn't until I don't know, because in terms of people's channels and that, like it really wasn't until like, 2012, 2015-ish that people really that I found, that I discovered in my experience, were really even talking about tarot and tarot decks and things like that. But then it really wasn't until like around like 2017, 2018 where I really started to see a pickup with like Hermit's Cave and Lisa Papez and things like that. And then from there, I feel like that's where it really got going for me. I'm like, whoa, like it just opened up this whole new world of like, okay, there's more to this. Um, so yeah, I would say like the divination started in childhood and then sort of creeped its way into the cardomancy world. And yeah, that's where, and now today I've got a lot of decks. But it's been a lot of fun to grow on this spiritual journey in terms of just deepening my practices with the cards and what that could look like going from Doreen Virtue into like you name it. I have all these other different kind of decks
Hmm.
today. So it's been a lot of fun actually.
Has the energy remained the same when you got it as now? Like, do you feel there's been a change of energy with possibly your own spiritual evolution, or is it something that it's inherent to the deck itself?
Like this deck here, or you
No,
mean like base
the previous one,
angel?
the angels ones, yeah.
Yeah. No, definitely has changed for sure because, when I got it, I mean, I worked with Oracle cards for years from like the early 2000s all the way up till I got this. So, it's not that I didn't know of tarot back then, but being raised like Catholic and that, you're like, I'm not really sure if we should go the tarot route. Um, that's why it's felt safer to stay in the Oracle lane, with the angels and
Mm-hmm.
all the positive stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there was definitely a shift, and I thought, you know what? That's great and everything. I understand what they're trying to do here, but like there's deeper things in life that I wanted to get into, and it just felt like that was masking it, if you will, right? So
Yes.
um yeah, so then when I got into the other decks and the rabbit hole of studies, if you will, which I'm still going down, of course, because I think we all do. But definitely when I revisit this deck now, it's almost like I can't get rid of it because it was my first deck, but
Mm-hmm.
I
It's
definitely don't.
autographed too.
Yeah, I definitely don't connect to it. Definitely not, like I used to. Um, I can appreciate what they've done with it, but I definitely don't connect with it in terms of reading for
Mm-hmm.
myself or others. Not this particular deck anyway. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, it's a very cool journey of how I come so far with it though.
That's so awesome. So we have more people popping in. We have Maru who came to see you. Hello, Maru. Thank you for stopping
Hey.
by. We have Muse and Magus and Asha Eternally One.
Nice.
Great to see you. Thank you very much for being here. We have some more people popping in. We have Nancy from Acrone's Intuition. Hello, Nancy. Great to see you. We
Hey.
have Alexandra Cormos. She's watching us from Austria. Hello,
Oh,
Alexandra. Thank you very much for stopping by. Alexandra, if you're not anyone who's on my channel, if you're not subscribed to Angie's channel, please stop by. I added the link below. If anyone can add it on the chat as well, that'll be awesome. Of course, and we have Miss Tarot D. No show is complete without
really?
Miss Tarot D.
That's
Hello, Miss
right.
Tarot D.
Hey.
Great to see you. Who else? Yeah. So, I had so did you find it easier to understand and learn tarot using the Rider Waite than other ones?
Mm,
Did you connect with the Rider Waite? Because that was my case too. I the first deck that I had, which came to me, was a Rider Waite deck, and it was much easier, or like the process of understanding tarot was, I feel it would have been much more difficult with any other deck that was in the Rider Waite than this one. I guess the connection with the messages and the images facilitates the understanding. Do you feel that was your case
mhm.
as well, or?
Yeah, I feel like a transition from that angel deck to this one was definitely seamless. And this one just added a lot more depth, in terms of imagery and meaning and things like that. Um, so I really was interested in getting to know the Thoth or the Toth or however you want to say it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I would say it's an ongoing study for me because I don't know what it is. I love the artwork and I'm really connected to it and I want to go deeper with it, but it's just like for some reason it just doesn't read as intuitively, or I don't pick up on it as quickly as I do the RWS. And it
Mm-hmm.
probably is because this is what I started with. People will say the same if they started with the Thoth, and that's what they sort of are more comfortable with. But I
Some
love.
people at Marseille. Some people at
Yes.
Marseille.
Yes. Marseille is definitely a system that I can appreciate, and I do definitely have a few of those decks, but I just can't. I don't know. I'm not like a pip girl, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I need more stuff going on in my cards. So, yeah.
I completely understand. I have maybe like two or three Marseilles only, and
Yeah,
like one of them is I got it for historical reasons. It was more of a historical deck, but I don't use it that much unless I want to use it for numerology. Because
right.
reading, it's not the same thing seeing the Six of Wands in the Rider Waite, that there's a story there, a pictorial representation of
Exactly.
different meanings, than seeing just six swords. You know.
Yes, you got it. Yeah, for sure. Like I think it's fascinating and like that's the thing. Like when I started to dive down this hole, like I think it's important to know your tarot history, like know, where cartomancy came from, what are the different systems, what can they offer, how are they different? And certainly I've done all of that, but like I do fall back onto the RWS for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And your process of, coming into divination, started as a game, toys and everything, and then it evolved into something else. And that's how a lot of divination tools evolved over time, from being games, being toys,
Yeah.
into tools itself. So going back into that, you have like a style, which I do it kind of as well too, layering different divination tools.
Hmm.
Um, I love using tarot with oracles, with Lenormand, with different dice, different divination systems. I use also charms. I've never used it in my channel, but it's fascinating. Tell us about your process of combining different divination tools, because for me, in my case, I feel that the message is much richer when you use different methods of divination combined than
Hmm.
using one. What's your take on this?
Yes, yes, for sure. So, I agree. So I'm what I call a layered reader. So I layer my cards. There's always a tarot, oracle, and charms in all of my readings. It's just what I do. And
Mm.
for me, I don't know. I just like intuitively can pull the message together like so quickly, and I can connect the dots. And for me, like that's just the way my brain works, anyways. Like when I'm out, even when I'm having conversations or I'm out doing things, in my creative life as well, I just am able to sort of connect the dots. So I have I'll show you. So I have this. bowl of charms. It's
Ooh.
huge.
No,
Um,
we gotta fit it in the screen because
okay,
oh
so
my
this
goodness.
is huge,
You,
right? And
you you look like a waitress bringing a big plate of salad.
here we go. Oh my gosh. And so yeah, and that's, I mean, it's so interesting because people usually say, "Oh, Angela, like, where did you get your trinkets?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like that's literally like 40 years of wherever, I mean, there's childhood toys in there, there's things from like gifts, things that I've found. Those are probably like the coolest ones, the things that I've found. Um, you know, there's stuff from like secondhand stores or craft stores. There's stuff of the fate salad,
Fate
exactly.
salad.
Yes, Maru. Yeah, so anyway, so yeah, what I'll do is I'll pull tarot. So for me, I always have to have three tarot. I can't have any less than that. For me, the tarot cards talk to one another, and I need like a minimum of three tarot to talk to tell me the message. And then I'll go ahead and pull whatever I'm feeling called to, because I'm usually surrounded with decks, some oracle to go on top of that. And I've recently been adding like these little questions, like deck of 120 questions, and you can just go ahead and pull like a question on top of it. And so what this does is it gives it another layer, and it gives people homework, really, because when I'm doing readings, I expect that the person that's asking for the reading is interested in actually doing the work. I mean, you come to the cards to ask the question, and we're giving you the guidance and insight, and so there's work to be done, there's stuff to unpack, there's the tarot is meant to be like a conversational tool, for, this is how I see it, for like personal growth and spiritual development and things like that. And so
Hmm.
it's a great psychological tool for that. And so yeah, so when I put all these layers together, like the questions and the charms and the tarot and the oracle, it just forms this beautiful message. Sometimes it's really deep, and sometimes it's just sort of like a confirmation that somebody's needing to hear. But I really love all of the synchronicities that are pulled together when I layer the readings like that.
Hmm. Let's explore that point that you said that people have to do the work. What do you mean that?
Mm.
Do you want to elaborate a little bit more on that?
Sure, yeah. So here's the thing, and like I just did a live last night with Elizabeth talking about how to properly phrase, or what is the best way to phrase a tarot question, because I
Hmm.
find that in all my years of reading, on YouTube and then privately behind the scenes, is that so many people are so interested in asking the questions to the cards that they want a reading, but they don't
Hmm.
always know what to ask or maybe how to ask the question. And so for those that really are serious about asking how they can improve their life, then there are steps to take in terms of doing the work to ensuring that whatever your end goal is, that you're doing something to get there. So in the cards, there's always actionable steps that you can take to sort of achieve that desired outcome, right? And so there's some people who view tarot as sort of like a party trick. You just pull a card, and the deck does the work for you, or some
Hmm.
people utilize it for like yes or no questions. And I don't believe that that's what tarot's built upon at all. It's much deeper than that, because here's 78 cards, to represent all the different aspects of our human experience. And when you put them together, they weave these beautiful stories and these beautiful insights. And if you're willing to sort of go there, like in the depths of, some people call it shadow work, and it doesn't always have to be shadow work, it doesn't always have to be that deep, but some readings are. And so, when these messages come out, when this guidance comes out, that's the work I'm talking about, is like, um, depending, of course, what the question is and what they're were wanting to know, there's always something actionable that you can take away from any card reading, I believe. Yeah, and that's the work
Hmm.
I'm talking about. Instead of just being passive or playing victim, take control of your life, and there's always something that you can do. And that's why even in yesterday's show I was mentioning when you ask the question, you should always focus on yourself. Don't don't come to the tarot and ask questions about someone else, because you don't have control of anybody else. You don't have control over their thoughts, their actions, their beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
nothing. So like, why waste your time asking questions about someone else? It should always be a reflection of yourself. And those questions can definitely reflect your relationship with somebody else, but the question itself should never be reflective on another person, because really, at the end of the day, the advice that you're going to get is not helpful in terms of what someone else is going to think, say, or do. You only have control of what you do. So,
Mm.
yeah.
Okay. It's more of a matter of application
Hmm.
in a sense,
Yeah.
you know.
Applying the
It
advice and the guidance. Yeah.
yeah. So I find it interesting because, it's not just only getting the answer, but how do you take that answer and apply it to your life, and how do you make it work, you
Hmm.
know, which is a very interesting point. What's the biggest misconception that people might have about your reading style or
Um,
possibly readings in general?
I would say, like maybe misconception, just because like I'm on YouTube, and so if somebody's like scrolling through, again, they may not take the time to know what kind of reader I am, and so they might assume that I am a predictive reader, which I'm not, or like a third party reader, like that kind of thing. And so I would definitely say that yeah, that would be it. But the people that know me as a reader, I don't know that there's any misconceptions, because it's pretty straightforward. But I would say that
Hmm.
somebody maybe just coming for the first time, again, because tarot has this sort of stigma to it, right? That somebody, everybody approaches tarot in a different way, and there are just as many readers out here as there are people wanting readings. So I don't think there's a wrong way to read tarot. I think everybody just does it in their own format. But in terms of me, I don't do it any predictive type readings. I'd rather go
Mm,
deeper and focus on the psychological aspect of it.
definitely. Do you have a significator within one of the 78 cards?
Yes, the high priestess. That's my girl.
The high priestess. Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Why?
Yeah, yeah.
Tell us.
I've always connected with the high priestess. So way back when I created my I didn't it wasn't a YouTube channel, it was just a YouTube account to get on. And I named it Hermit and High Priestess. And so those are my two cards. Well, Hermit is because I'm a Virgo, so Hermit was, that's the
Mm.
thing there. But the
Mm-hmm.
High Priestess is I was always really drawn to her, because it's like there's this mystery about her, and sort of like, the person that can walk between worlds. I've always so fascinated behind with that, and just thinking like, what is behind the veil? To the point where I even made a show called Beyond the Veil with Rain, and we were talking about all the psychological aspects, and so all of that stuff just always intrigues me, and still to this day, like I think about the high priestess, and I'm not even sure I can really put it into words. It's almost like this ethereal thing, this you know I feel like she's not even supposed to be put into words. That's the whole point. Like, she is this
Mm-hmm.
mystery, and you're supposed to sort of, delve into it to know more of the secrets that she holds. So yeah, I really do. I really do love her. Yeah, it's just like this beautiful presence about that card. Every time I pull it, I just, ooh, my breath just gets taken away every time.
Yeah, I mean it's very mystical, and there's a lot of mystery involved because you have the veil, you have the scroll,
Hmm.
which is about knowledge, but you have to go through the scroll and explore that knowledge.
Hmm.
You have the moon as well,
Yep.
and the moon is like one of those symbols of like things that might be occult, things that might be mystery. The pomegranates to me is such a powerful symbol,
Hmm.
of very feminine, but also very complex.
Yes.
That's one of my favorite fruits, the pomegranates, and it's
Hmm.
aesthetically, but also in terms of flavor.
Yes.
And it's that deeping into that richness, that complexity of life and discovering its secrets.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
Being that you use different divination tools that fall in different categories, have you ever encountered a moment where different divination tools seem to contradict each other? And how do you reconcile or interpret the message in that case?
Hmm. That's a good question. Honestly, like if I if so, hmm, if it's tarot, like I said, normally typically, well, it depends on what the question is and how much a person is paying for a reading, because I do have paid readings and I do have free readings here. But so if it's just like a simple reading and I pull the three tarot cards, and if I pull some oracle cards into it, and I kind of get stuck, like how am I supposed to tie this in? I will go ahead and pull like a tarot tile as well. And so it'll add
Mm-hmm.
like another dimension onto it. It's almost like, a clarifier. Some people say, okay, clarify this page of swords. Like, what does it really mean? So I'll do that if I feel stuck in that way. Um, and then there are times where I will pull charms, and like I'll sprinkle them on top of the cards, and where they land on which card like means something, for me. And sometimes there's just a charm that's hanging out there that I'm like, I don't know what the hell this is. I don't know how to connect this. But the important thing is, in my readings, I always still tell the person, I'm like, hey, look, like this charm came out. I don't know what it means. And I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, someone will come back to me and go, oh my gosh, that is a symbol of like whatever, whatever it is to them. I'm like, okay. So, you know, um, sometimes as the reader, we have to remember to sort of remove ourselves, so that way we don't get in the way of the message. We're just the vessel in
Mm-hmm.
which the messages come through, and we're supposed to just deliver it without thinking with our human brain, too much, because then we're gonna sort of maybe take away from the deeper meaning of it. Because at the end of the day, the message isn't for us, right? We're just delivering the
Mm-hmm.
message. And so that's been a real, especially with layered readings, right? Because you can get all up in it, especially as a Virgo, you're always thinking, and so you can't overanalyze. You just have to deliver, but yeah, if
Mm-hmm.
I get hung up on some cards and stuff, I'll just pull another clarifier from the tarot specifically. Yeah.
Any divination tool or method that you're interested in exploring that you haven't tried yet?
I have a set of runes, and I have Kristen Louise's rune deck and everything. And I have
Elder
not,
Futhark or Witch's
yes,
runes? Elder Futhark, yeah.
yes,
I love Elder Futhark. I love them.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
I just, I don't know. I probably just lack of time, to be honest. It's like you have to be able to sort of be in the right mind frame to take on something new like that. But I definitely have an interest in it. I just have not taken the plunge yet. So,
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's such a beautiful energy. I feel it like so earthly, so
mhm,
connected to earth and so grounded. It's a totally different feel. I recommend you to explore it because it's
mhm,
fascinating. And the symbols are amazing. And I'm talking about the Elder Futhark rooms because there's a
yes.
newer Futhark. But the Elder is fascinating. It's fascinating. Um, let's go into other topics other than divination. Let's talk about reincarnation.
Ooh.
Do you believe in reincarnation?
Hmm. I do. Um, I do. But I think I'm not really sure if I believe, like, for example, if we reincarnated, would we come back here to this plane, I'm not sure about that. I think that we can reincarnate in other universes, in other planets, in other,
That's exactly what I say. That's
yeah.
exactly what I say because I do believe in reincarnation. I repeat myself so many times on this because when we think of reincarnation, we think, okay, I'm gonna come back in the future. You can, I believe you can reincarnate in the past as well in other
Hmm. Hmm.
timelines. It doesn't have to be in Earth either.
No.
There's, I believe the universe is vast. There's other forms of life,
Yes.
and we can easily, perfectly reincarnate in those other forms of life in different dimensions. And
Hmm.
it's not just in Earth in the future. To me, my vision it's that it's wider than that. It's beyond that.
Yes, that's
And
exactly what it feels.
you explained it very similar to the way I think as well.
Yes. And oftentimes when I think about, like, there's so many times where ugh, I feel like Earth is such a heavy place to be. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm grateful for this experience in this body during this time and space, doing my thing. I'm here to serve a purpose and learn all the lessons. But it's a heavy, heavy place to be. And
Hmm.
I say that because I have, I don't want to call it astral projecting because I don't know if that's really what it was, but you sort of have these visions and these journeys like when you're sleeping or in between sleeping, and even when you're awake and you're in deep meditation. I feel like, you're transported, and it's such a different feeling. You're so free. And again, like the only word I can use is it's really heavy here. And once you're free, you're sort of floating around. And a majority of my work that I've done in my lifetime is the medical field. And a majority of that time has been assisting people with passing over to the other side. And I have learned so much. Oh my gosh, sitting bedside with people who have passed on. They've told me things, the things that they've seen and felt. And, you know,
Do you wanna share with us stories of, experiences that you had?
yeah, sure.
We're fascinated to listen. I mean, we're
Yeah,
so interested in.
yeah,
Please
for sure. So, you know, my
take
beginning of
your
my
time.
journey, with this is like, because when you're in any form of medicine, you're taught, well, it's just the medicine talking, they're dying, so we have to give them morphine. So, the morphine will make them a little.
Mhm.
And okay, fine, at first, but no. Listen, there's like a a bigger presence. Like I'm an energy reader. I can, oh my gosh, like I can read people's energy through the screen, like through the walls, like whatever. I can feel it. I'm a
Mhm.
really a really strong empath, and I pick up on energy really easily. And so that's why I was really good at that work, because oftentimes, well, most times, when people are close to passing, they can't communicate like this, right? So you
Mhm.
have to be able to communicate in other ways. And so I began to really focus on, okay, I really want to know what this patient needs because I want to be able to help them, but they can't talk. They're no longer
Mhm.
able to write or anything like that. So I would hold their hand and I'd tell them, okay, and I'd say, do you need this? Do you need that? It has to be some kind of like yes or no thing, right? Because it's like squeeze
Mhm.
here for yes or blank for no or something like that. So it kind of began with that. And that works to a certain extent. But then again, some medication could have an effect where they can't physically squeeze your hand or they can't blink. Sometimes they can't even open their mouth. So then I began to sort of read the expressions on their face if they're able to. Again, that takes muscles in your
Mhm.
face, right? So sometimes, again, you're not able to move your face, but oftentimes, yes, especially when there's pain, you can see the furrowed brow, and that means pain, or discomfort, and you sort of learn to
Mhm.
read that. But then I took it a little bit deeper, and I just began to sort of, I don't know if you want to call it telepathically, but energetically really feeling what this person needs. And I don't even really know how to put it to words other than just that, because I've had other nurses and other nurses' aides and even doctors go like, how did you even know that? You know what I mean? Of what they wanted or what they're trying to communicate. I mean, I've even, had messages to a loved one sitting next to them, and the wife's like, there's no way she could have known that. Did he just tell you that? I'm like, yeah, like kind of in a way.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so I was able to deliver some messages. Not that didn't happen too often, but I was able to do that. But I think more importantly for my job position, I was able to ensure that they were receiving everything they needed or wanted to receive. Um, like sometimes doctors would say, "Oh yeah, they have a couple days to live," and then all of a sudden, like they would take a turn for the worse, and I would just feel like this pull, and I'm like, "Oh, they want a priest to come in," and then some of the family members like a priest, like no, you're mistaken because he does not want a priest to come in, like, and then I've had one patient kind of like wake up a little bit and yes, I do, and it's like whoa, and they're like looking at him like
Yeah.
you never like wanted a priest before, and it's just like you heard the man, get the priest in here, you know what I mean? Because at the end of your life, like things could change, you know what I mean? You never know, like if that's their wishes, that's cool. But then to get into more of what I've felt presence wise in terms of maybe a higher power or whatever you want to call it, I'm not even sure what to call it, but there is a really specific it's a beautiful, peaceful energy that blankets the room when someone passes. I mean, it is. It's almost like, if I had to put it into words, it'd be like the high priestess. The feeling of the high priestess card would be like what it is to sit bedside with somebody, because yeah, it's just like this liminal space. It's like this threshold. It's like this different portal that you're slipping into just for that brief moment, And you're watching someone take their last breath, and you're just kind of like, you're always like, now what? Now what? You know what I mean? Because we're so used to like seeing the chest rise and fall. But if you just get comfortable with that and just let it be what it is, you can really get sucked into it, and be blanketed with th- this unconditional love, like this beautiful feeling. And yes, it's sad, but if you can get past that, if you can get past
Hmm.
that, it really is a gift. I mean, if anybody's ever been in the presence of a birth of a child, or birth of anything, an animal, whatever, there's a beauty in that. There's such a beauty in that, so much that we, cry when it happens because it's so beautiful. It is the same thing with death. And I would even say death is even more beautiful than birth, because
Wow.
um because for me, I believe that that's not an ending. That's only a beginning to the next whatever. Again, like we said, reincarnation, or you're journeying on to something else. Um, I believe that we are all energy frequency beings. And so we're just temporarily in these meat suits walking around. And so when we do take our last breath, like our soul is like free from this body to be able to go on, and where we go on or what we do, obviously I don't know, but I can definitely tell you, sitting bedside with so many different people that have passed, as they're closing their eyes and still able to verbalize, explaining the beauty that they see, and the peace that they feel. I know that that's it's got to be real. How can so many, different people from different walks of life, and in different places, like I've served in the medical field here in Ontario, Canada, in Arizona, in the state of Wisconsin. You know what I mean? So I'm just not convinced that it's just medication talking, like some of the doctors really want you to think. It's like, no, there's something deeper here, and energetically you can definitely feel that. And so it's exciting to me. Like, I'm not saying like I want to die or anything like that yet, but I'm not afraid of it. Like, I'm really not. And I think when I was younger, I definitely was, but that's because I was raised to be afraid of it. Um, and again, this is no fault to my parents. They were just sort of portraying what they were taught. And
It's a
so,
social
you know,
construction. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And so, but now I'm so at peace with it. Actually, I'm intrigued with death, not in like a morbid way, but in like, it's such a rite of passing, a passage, and to be a part of that, if anybody can be a part of that with somebody, it's truly an honor. Like, it's literally holding space in a way that I can't even really put it into words. It's just this overwhelming feeling that you get when you're with somebody. And yeah, so
I
mhm,
can feel it, and I think we can all sense it through your words, your expressions, like how deep of an experience these has have been for you, and how you have to develop a certain level of sensitivity and receptiveness to be able to
yes.
appreciate and recognize the power behind it.
Yes. Yes, you have to remove yourself. Like, you really have to get out of your head, out of your take your beliefs and your prejudices and your biases, and just check it at the door. And that's the thing. The art of holding space is an art. It's an art all of its own. Active listening and holding space. Those are two things I would really encourage people to get better at doing, because we all need somebody to hold space for us, and we all need somebody to just actively listen. Don't listen to respond. Don't listen to try to fix my problem. Just be there for me to listen, and so many people need that. And and those are two main skills that you need when you're sitting bedside with somebody, because what else can you do but that, when they're passing. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you define and expand a little bit more about on holding space
Hmm.
for everybody's edification?
Yeah, 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 for sure. So holding space, just as it sounds, like you are. So again, going back to us being energetic beings of frequency and vibration, right? So when you're holding space for someone, you are, and again, this doesn't have to be in person, but it can be, virtually as well. But somebody is. needing you to be there for them for whatever reason, very variety of different reasons people could need you there, right? And so when you're holding space for someone, you're not there to fix their problems, you're not there to give advice. You're only there to literally hold space in a way that, um, if anybody's familiar with energy work or Reiki or things like that, it very much can play into these energies of sort of creating this energetic field that sort of like surrounds and comforts the person so that they're able to just do whatever they need to do, cry, yell, whatever they need to do in the moment, right? And the person holding space is literally just there to support them in whatever they need. You know, and when you're holding space for someone, you let them know, you tell me what you need. You know, do you need, if you want a hug, let me know. Because again, when you're holding space, you're not really supposed to get involved in the person's um, unfolding
Process.
or
Mm-hmm.
venting or whatever that they're doing, right? And so yeah, holding space is just like the sacred thing that you can offer to people. And I've seen it done in group settings as well, right? So not just individual. A lot of women's circles that I've been to as well, holding space for one another. It's just like kind of like it's like a safe container that people can just be in with somebody that they absolutely trust. So they can just, open up and share whatever it is that they need to share. Yeah. And I think we all need a place or someone like that to turn to in a time of need. I think if more people had that, there would be mm, less disease, less illness, less suicides, things like that. Yeah, less
Mm-hmm.
loneliness. Hmm.
Definitely. Have you used it in that context? Have you used divination tools to explore, um, other energies or energies beyond, related to possibly passing to the other side, connecting with ancestors, connecting with people who have departed?
Oh yes, for sure. Yeah. Actually, today marks 3 years that a really good friend of mine passed away. So actually when you asked me on the show, I just kind of nodded to him like, okay, yeah, because he would have been totally into this kind of a show. So I miss him dearly. Like it's been 3 years, but so yes, like people that have passed on, my loved ones and things like that, I definitely, have utilized certain decks to connect with them. Not so much ancestor work, although it's interesting because anytime that I begin to do anything, I always call upon my gods, goddesses, angels, archangels, and ancestors. So they're always in there. You know what I mean? As my spirit,
Mm-hmm.
I just view them as my spiritual team, just here with me. I know they're here with me right now, but to individual, like to say that I've sat down and really tried to explore specifically ancestry, no, but it's definitely been an interest of mine. But I have communicated with loved ones that have passed on. Specifically where it's been the most successful for me is in dream work, intentional dream work, meaning I will go ahead and pull tarot or oracle cards, and I will, try to communicate with this individual, and then I'll put these cards in my pillowcase, underneath my pillowcase, like in the pillowcase so it's not getting bent or something like that. And I'm telling you, some of the most profound dreams and messages have come through when I have done that. To the point where it kind of scared me for a little bit because I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm ready for this. Um, because the dreams and the visions that I was getting was like, wow, like there's something here, there's something to this. And when I would wake up, I'd be so exhausted because it was like this work that I was doing,
Training.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so anyways, I did this for a while, especially right when my grandmother passed away back in July. I was really doing this a lot, thinking like, oh, there's something here. But here's the thing, like in June, I was diagnosed with a certain condition. And so I had to really be careful with my energy levels because I'm trying to recover and heal from something, and so I really had to pull back on that for a little bit, just solely because of the energy I was exuding, not because I didn't want to go deeper into it, because I do. And quite recently I started to pick it up a little bit, but just easing into it a little bit more, not maybe tapping into somebody that passed away just in general, saying like,
Mm-hmm.
give me a message kind of thing. And it's been working again, and I've been using different oracle cards. And it's interesting because like we all dream every single night, we dream, it's just that we don't always remember because, well, we're probably exhausted, or sometimes you get into such a deep sleep that when you come out of it, it's hard to get back there again. But there's all different kind of dream work you can do. You're supposed to get up and journal right away so that you can remember. That's how I was doing it. But when I was reincorporating these oracle cards under my pillow, the dreams would just stick in my mind so vividly, as if I was really there. And it was like, wow. There's one recently dream that I had that was like, it kind of scared me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, because it was like, it was a little gruesome. And I'm not a violent person. I don't like violence. I don't like blood, or I don't like seeing
Hmm.
anybody hurt. And so, but the imagery in my dream was, okay, I'm just gonna say it. So
Yeah, please.
yeah,
I didn't want to be rude to try to pry into your dream especially when
um,
you said gruesome, but I
it
was so
was,
intrigued. Please,
but so
in
here's the
details. We want details.
yeah. So here's the interesting thing. Like, it's gruesome, but it's not like, oh, okay, so I'll just say it. So
Uh huh.
in this dream, I was in, I don't know, this house somewhere. I don't know what kind of house it was, but there was this man and there was this dead body. Okay. And
Mhm.
now when I say dead body, it wasn't like creepy looking dead body, like where I saw the face. I didn't even see the face. All I saw
Mhm.
were the hands. Like, I remember the guy taking both hands. We were kind of like in a kitchen setting, and he took this big like meat cleaver, and he chopped all of the fingers off, every finger on. I
Oh.
know, this is what I mean, right? And so I remember this is why it stuck with me so much, because obviously in the dream I'm like, oh my, what is happening? Like, what is
Mhm.
going on here? And it was so vivid, where the guy was just hacking, 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 and the blood was flying, and I'm thinking, what have I walked into? But then when I just sat with it, I just felt like, yeah, this, we're supposed to do this. Like, I felt like we're on a mission, but not like a, like the body was already dead, and like we're supposed to do this thing for this person. I thought, well, this is weird, but I guess I'm here to help, so okay. So then it was weird, because as soon as he did that, got all the fingers off,
Mhm.
the body vanished, just vanished, and I thought, that's weird. I couldn't even tell you what the person looked like. I only know the hands. Okay. So then, anyway, some other person came into the house and sort of was sidetracked talking to the guy who cut the fingers off. And
Mhm.
this little boy was with him, um, this other man. And all I kept thinking was, oh my gosh, this kid's in the house. I don't want him to see these,
The
like,
fingers
the
and
fingers. I don't
the
want him
scene, the
to,
scene, the whole
yeah,
scene.
or who's this guy, and like, what is happening? So I remember in the dream being, obviously being a little grossed out and like, I don't know what's happening here, but at the same time, there was like this other presence, or this other energy of like, just trust the process. There's, you just got to do this, and not in like a weird criminal cover up kind of way, but in like a
Mhm.
bigger spiritual way. And I thought, okay, just trust the process. So the when the guy came in, the guy, like, I don't mean to laugh, but it just sounds weird, right? He threw the fingers on in this bed, and it was like this sort of like red blanket, and he sort of folded it over, and I thought, okay, well, the kid won't see it. Well, the kid found him, and he picked him up, and he was like holding him in his hand. He had like blood dripping all over, and I thought, oh my gosh, I got to get these away from this kid. And the kid, in the dream, he had some kind of like a mental issue or whatever, so he was really,
The plot thickens.
yeah, he was really like, I don't even know how to, doing some weird things, kind of like making weird noises, and sort of, and I'm like, oh god, this is getting worse. What am I supposed to do here? So I convinced the kid. I'm like, okay, just give this to me, let me help you here. And then I like washed the kid's hands off and things like that. And then I immediately took these 10 fingers, or 9 fingers and 2 thumbs, um 8 fingers and 2 thumbs, and put them into this plastic bag that I found. And then I put it into this trash can, and I knew I had to get it out. Like, I got to get this out of here. So then I walked out the door, and I was in this building, like, I don't know, felt like maybe like a commercial kind of a building, and all these doors. And I stopped at this one door, and I thought, okay, this is the garbage room. I don't know how I knew that. So I set the
Mhm.
garbage can down. I turned around for something, and as soon as I turned back, the can was gone. And I thought, oh no, oh no. Now where did they go? So I'm panicking. And this lady in this garbage room, turns to me, and she's like, "Oh, hi." And she has the empty pail. And I'm thinking, "Oh God." I said, "Oh, thanks. Did you dispose of that for me?" She's like, "I sure did." She goes, "I just put it right here in the shredding bin." I'm like, "Oh." God. I'm like the shredding bin. So I just kind of like, thanks. And as I'm walking away, I'm like, oh no. I'm like, the shredding bin is for documents and that sits there for like a week. What's going to happen to, you know what I mean? Now it's going to
Uh,
smell and like, what's going to happen? And so anyway, and I just remember like waking up after that going, what the hell was that
what the
about?
hell?
What the hell? But I'm telling you, I don't have it with me, but I pulled cards on this, and I actually probably one of the friends is probably here in chat. She knows the story. I was like, I gotta tell you this dream. I'm really bothered by it. She's like, whoa. But you know what? The message ended up being something really amazing. Basically, just as it's saying the severing of something in my life, like like an absolute severing. Like this is it. This is the end
Mm-hmm.
of this. It's like a massive release. But there's more to it, and I would love to um like actually talk about it on my channel, like the whole meaning behind it. But basically it came down to like this, it needed to happen. Like this was something that, and like, again, in the dream I really just felt like I have to do this. But again, like I'm such the opposite. I don't like horror movies, I don't like any of that kind of stuff, so I'm like, what is going on? But that is how dreams work, because see how much detail I remembered. And I can remember, oh, and that's another thing, the smell. I can remember the smell of everything.
Uh,
It wasn't a bad smell. It was just, I mean, if you worked around bodies your whole life like I have, you know all the different smells from birth to death. And so
mm-hmm.
it was just like this fleshy, irony, bloody smell, and it was so potent. And the dream just stuck with me so much. And so anyway, all of that to say that our dreams provide us with these really really profound messages if we allow ourselves to journey into them. And when those ones come to us, like those ones that really stick with us, there's some pretty deep messages there that we are invited to go within and figure it out, unpack it. Yeah, as uncomfortable as and odd obviously as some of them can be. So yeah.
You're right. This will be an amazing story to have in your channel. Yeah.
I guess I need to. And it's funny you asked that, because I love journaling. I've loved to write ever since I was younger. English classes where I like thrived in terms of like writing papers, and I took creative writing in high school. And I just sort of I haven't revisited it in quite a while. But I probably should pick it up again. Um
Mhm.
but yeah, it was phew, yeah, just going back
It,
there thinking of it, like, oh my God.
yeah, I mean it's very powerful because it's severing something and it's a process, like in this case, it's scary, it's full of horror, it might be painful, but it's necessary.
Yeah.
And dreams have that way of representing through symbols that
Hmm.
we understand because everybody knows you're in a situation in a dream and nobody tells you what is behind that door, but you know already who's who, what's the what,
Yeah.
what route to take. And we dreams had that way of representing through symbols those feelings that we have, and sometimes they
Mhm.
have to be impactful and powerful and create such an impression for us to understand
Mhm.
uh the meanings behind it.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm always fascinated by dreams, and
Mhm.
on rare occasions I wake up and remember right away a story in a dream. It has to be like really, really cause like a very strong impression. Most
Yeah.
of the time, I dream every night, and but throughout the day, something triggers the memory of the dream.
Yes,
Maybe in a dream I
exactly.
was eating an apple, and then I see an apple in the supermarket. Oh, I remember this dream, and
That's
then
it.
I start to piece the memory of everything that happened in the dream.
Yes. And that's exactly what dream work entails. And these, even if you wake up and you can only remember a color or a smell or an image or one item, just write it down. You know what I mean? And then as you go through your day, like you said, it's like this unfolding. And it's basically just being more aware, a heightened
Hmm.
awareness. And unfortunately, many of us, I'm speaking for myself, you're so busy in life, you're just kind of like trying to survive. So there's a certain amount of energy that requires. So again, going back to what I was saying about the dream work and how I had to step away from it for a little bit, because it requires a lot of energy. So but I firmly believe that our dreams hold such deep messages. And that's kind of like a long convoluted way back to your question about do I use divination tools to try to connect with people who have passed over? And yes, I have. But in dream work, specifically with the cards and dream work, is how I've really been able to sort of tap in to the higher powers.
So you combine dream interpretation with divination tools.
Hmm. Yes.
Yeah, dreams. It's so fascinating.
Hmm.
I don't know. I have different theories about dreams or like different ways of seeing it. I feel like sometimes, that state of us falling asleep is might be in a way similar or like sort of like analog to how it feels when you're dying.
Yes. Yes.
Because you don't most of the time you fall into that state that you're like awake and sleeping, but in the moment that you're falling asleep, it's something that you sort of like slip away, right?
Yes.
And
Hmm.
sometimes I wonder if that's how it feels when we're crossing.
I
Yeah.
definitely have felt that before too. That curiosity of that. And how like you're just about to fall asleep and sometimes your body like jumps, you know what I mean? Or you feel like you're
Mm-hmm.
falling and you just have that like anti-gravity feel. You're like, whoa, okay. Yeah, I definitely have thought that before too. And then of course my mind takes me on all these different like, well, where do we like go somewhere when we're dreaming? Or,
Yes,
and
yes. That's my
yeah.
other point. I feel that when we dream, we fall into like other dimensions of
Yes.
our own existence that in which we experience things, because I had situations in which I learned through dreams things that I didn't experience in this I don't know, a format that I am right now,
Hmm.
this timeline.
Yeah.
I've been through experiences and dreams that have been so real and profound that I learn from them, and it's just as equal as having it here in the flesh.
Yes, absolutely. If not even more powerful, right? Because you don't have the certain things holding you back in dream life like you do here. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's limitations to being a human being, of course,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's why I believe like when we dream, you're oh gosh, I love this conversation. Yeah, I'm a big believer in dimensions and portals and thresholds and liminal space and all of that. And when we're dreaming specifically, and I want to get into science a little bit because I'm a science nerd like that, but there's a certain breathing rhythm, heart rate, everything slows down. So if you think about it on an energetic level, yeah, absolutely we're tapping into something a little bit different there because your frequency is turned down, slowed down, so that you're able to sort of tap into something else. With these eyes and these brains, we can only see, hear, things on a very specific frequency. That's just that's just proven by science. But it's really interesting because there's other animals like out there that they've done experiments on that, and they can see um things that we can't. It's been proven, and so they say, oh well, that's just their eye structure, how maybe some are nocturnal and okay, but you can be sitting right next to a cat and it's perfectly light in the house and all of a sudden they're staring at something and you're like, what do you see that I don't? So I guess my point here is that there is so much going on that we cannot see and hear. But when we take the
Mm-hmm.
time to sort of try to change our frequency and our energies, it's just like a radio station. You can tune in to different things. And that's why I believe in our sleep life, like in our dream life, we're able to sort of go to these different places because, everything else is sort of turned off except for the breathing part, which we obviously still need to do when we're
Mm-hmm.
sleeping. But everything else is quiet so that we can get to these other places where we can't get to in our waking life because our body's too busy, focusing on survival with your heart beating and your everything else, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
Yes. It's a struggle to keep yourself alive. It's
right.
in
Yes,
the body, in the physical process, the just in the mechanical physical level, the heart has to be pumping
that's right.
blood to be able to oxygenate the whole body. And so
Yeah,
there's a lot of effort to maintain this structure.
right. And that's
Um,
the limitations that I'm talking about being a human because there's a big part of our thing here is survival. Like you have to, you get a certain amount of sleep, and you got to eat the food, and you got to, take care of your body, otherwise you're going to fail.
Mm-hmm.
So it's this like it's weird. It's like this race against time, but yet they tell you to slow down and enjoy the moment, and you're like, wait a minute. It's a complex thing for sure, but I think when we quiet our minds and we really tune in and we do like the meditative thing and everything, you realize that there's way more out there than what we're told. So
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Connecting to that topic of the dreams, I believe that there are many versions of ourselves and, different alternate universes.
mhm.
I think that when we dream, we spiritually and in a way energetically connect with those other versions of ourselves of experiences that might be happening at the moment. Maybe there was another Ange in an alternate universe actually experimenting in in the flesh this dream that you were experiencing with the chopped fingers and everything.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I believe that. Yes, I do. It's because there's like this certain feeling. Again, there's so much that I cannot put into like human words to express what I'm feeling or seeing. And uh, exactly what you're saying in that dream, there was something, again, you can't put it into words. There's some energy, some feeling or whatever that took place in that dream that I will never forget that feeling. And so that makes perfect sense to what you're saying, to connect it to, like you said, some other version of us, or like you
Mm-hmm.
said, a parallel universe or something like that. Yeah. And that's why I love the conversation about having like universe. It's like, well, no, it's actually a multiverse, because it's not just universe. There's, oh
Mm-hmm.
my, it goes on and on and on, it's infinite. And that's a whole nother conversation. But the different energies that are out there that we can connect to if we really want to, is just mind boggling. But I feel like we are very limited here, sometimes, because of the frequencies around us just here on the planet, of all the noise. And I don't, of course there's actual physical noise, but I mean like in wavelengths, you know what I mean? We got all this technology and all this stuff, and it's a lot of noise to try to get through. But it can still be done, but it's just it makes it a little bit harder.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's where intuition in part comes from. If I believe if there's other versions of ourselves, we are able to connect. A story that I say a lot is, I was going with a friend uh, to a store, and I was about to park in a specific area, but someone told me don't park there, move further ahead. And my friend said, "Why? What? This is closer. Why don't you park over here?" I said, "No, I feel something tells me to park on this other side." And a car who parked in later on got scratched from another car that it
Mhm.
could have been mine. So I feel that in that sense of intuition is that knowledge of things that we experience or other versions of ourselves experience in parallel timelines and other universes. Intuition to me is like that experience that wasn't learned, or
Yes.
it's that knowledge that you didn't experience here, you know?
Yes. Yes, that makes sense. And also, to sort of branch off into that, that's why it's so important that we learn from our elders, right? Because our elders are trying to pass on this wisdom, this knowledge, not only from their own gained life experience, but from these, like you said, intuitive things that happen to them. And our elders just want us to, prosper and succeed. And so, um, so often, so many people don't listen to the elders, and that's why a lot of people are in the position
Mm-hmm.
they are now. But yeah, it's that, you're right. It's that passing down of that wisdom, whether it be us like remembering and wanting to tune into it, or it being passed down from somebody else or some other being. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Going into a lighter question, but kind of like related to the to the topic. Um, with divination tools, do you feel it is predictive or just purely reflective in the terms of messages?
I'm definitely more of a reflective person. So predictive, it can get a little, here's the thing, like predictive can get messy because, you know, the future is fluid and it's influx.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, it's ever changing, like literally from right now to 2 seconds from now. It's different already just talking about it. So uh, predictive is kind of a, I don't know, it's a sticky situation. I don't use it for predictive. I don't consider myself a predictive reader. Can it be predictive? Yeah, absolutely it can. But I think that it takes a very, very special person to be able to do that work. And I've only, in my whole for almost 43 years here, I've only met one person that was the true real deal of truly predictive. And actually, she worked with the Milwaukee Police Department in terms of crime investigation. And she was able to do those drawings, she could
Mm-hmm.
visualize and
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And she was able
Like
to,
remote viewing.
yes, exactly. And she was able to
Yeah.
point to where bodies were and stuff. I mean, that is predictive. That's like, holy
Mm-hmm.
crap. But like, that's a very, to me, that's a very specific gift. And I know that there's people out here that claim they're predictive readers. I'm not saying that they're wrong, but I'm just saying that when you're reading for someone, and let's face it, people come to the cards for very vulnerable things. You got to be so careful when you're predictive reading, right? I mean, these are people's lives that you're telling them the color of their future kids' eyeballs. You know what I mean? Like, do you
Mm-hmm.
really know that though? So I'm more of a reflective reader for sure, and just in divination in general, reflective. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's a big responsibility reading for
Yes,
someone.
it really is.
It because it has a direct impact in their life, you know.
Yes.
My thing with predictive readings is I don't believe in fate, you know. I believe at every moment uh our destination. You see, I have a very different view between fate and destiny or destiny.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to me, fate doesn't exist because everything is fluid. You know, I don't
Exactly.
think things are pre-written of the outcome of everything down the road. There's possibilities, there's branches that are out there, routes that we can take. But for me, destiny is more about terms of direction, you know. And the example that I think of is like when you're going to the supermarket, right? You put your GPS and you want to go to a certain place, you know. There's a route established, but that's the destination. That's the destiny of that route that you're taking. That doesn't mean you're actually going to take that route to get to the
Mm-hmm.
supermarket. A lot
Right.
of things can happen in the way, but it's a path, you know.
That's right.
And I believe that divination tools in general, they tap into the temperature, the energy of the
Yeah.
situation at that moment. Sort of like a snapshot, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's taking a snapshot and it's sort of like the universe giving you heads up of, you know, this is what's happening, this is a possible outcome. And that gives you that opportunity of influence on a different direction depending on where you want to go.
That's exactly it. That's exactly how I feel. Wow, I've never actually heard someone put it in like that, but that's so true. Like, I don't believe in fate. I also don't believe in twin flames. I don't believe in there's a lot that I don't believe in, you know. And again, like when I mention these things and speak from my experience, it's not to belittle someone else's ideas or experience or beliefs.
Hmm.
It's just that, in my life experience and what I've seen and felt and gone through, it's just like it doesn't make sense for me. And especially I've got years of reading now and reading for others. It's like I believe that there's like this experience we gain from that too, because we're tapping in all these energies and sort of navigating all of these messages for these people. And it's like there's these sort of like red threads that weave through so many of the things that we our own life experiences along with other people that we read for, that it's like, okay, and if you follow these threads in life, like it'll lead you to conversations like we're having right now and experiences like
Hmm.
we're having right now. So yeah, I believe that too. I don't believe in fate either, so yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a funny question. What is the weirdest um um charm that you have in your collection?
The weirdest, I would probably say it's like this weird eyeball. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see. It's like a doll eyeball, which is really weird. Yeah, there it is.
There it is. Oh, it is weird.
It is
It
weird and
has
it
the
closes.
lashes, the skin color, and everything. Oh my god,
Yeah,
it's creepy and fascinating at the same time.
it is, and it opens and closes too. Yeah, so that is weird
Oh my
for
god.
sure. Yeah,
I love the motif of eyes. To me, it's such a powerful symbol,
yeah,
right? Uh-huh. It definitely it's scary, but at the same time, I don't know, it kind of like represents divine energy,
yeah.
um, people being watched, because I feel that some most of the time there's always an eye watching us.
That's right.
Doesn't matter
That's that.
how
Mm-hmm.
private you want to be, there's always someone or something watching you.
Yep.
Winding down, if you can give a piece of advice to someone who's starting in tarot or divination in general, which one would it be?
A piece of advice. I would say your intuition is your best um teacher, your best guide to start with. Okay, so here's the thing, like, okay, so for example, the tarot, it has a structure to it, right? And if you really, really want to learn the tarot, yes, of course, it's important to know the structure, the foundation, the basic meanings, yes, the symbolism. However, I would say before you even get into any of that, if you've never even touched a tarot deck, never even touched an oracle deck, just take the cards, put your energy into them, put your intention to them, and read what you see. Just read what you see, journal it out, study it a little bit and work with that for a little bit. And then, once you develop that, your own foundation, if you will, your intuitive foundation, then you can build upon that. And I think sometimes we do it the opposite, where, oh, I got to know it all. I got to know all the 78 cards inside and out, reversal, all this kind of stuff. And then we go and try to put our own intuition into it. And it's like, we've already sort of, we've already not blocked it, but we've already sort of, clouded it in a way where
Hmm.
that's how our brains work. Right now that information is in there, we can't undo that. So I think doing it the other way, where we build our intuition first and then you can build your foundation, knowledge foundation on top of that, I think that is the best way to go about it. Yeah.
Hmm, interesting. I didn't ask you, what's your take on reverse cards with tarot? Do you read reverse or not? Why, etc.?
Yeah. No, I don't shuffle in reversals and I don't read reversals. However, when I'm reading the energy of the card, I definitely know the energy of the card, whether it's a reverse meaning or not. But I don't need them physically upside down in order for me to read that energy.
Hmm, that's interesting. So you can feel the opposite energy on the card even though it's not physically reversed.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah,
Interesting.
and it definitely depends on, of course, what's around. Again, like I said, I have to have a minimum of 3 tarot cards. I can't have any less. I know some people say, Ange, like you do these long readings, can you just pick one card? No, I can't. I cannot. I cannot just pick one card
Mm-hmm.
because tarot is not meant to be one card divination. That's not how it works. It's not. Now, if you want to do different activities with the tarot and you're picking one to journal on it, that's different. But if you're actually doing a reading, you cannot read with one tarot card. I'm sorry, it's not a thing.
Hmm. Interesting. Um, so you will do really good using Lenormand. Do you use Lenormand?
I have dabbled in it, but I don't know what it is. I think it's really interesting. And you would think, especially like symbolism, like that divination system uses with all my trinkets, you would think that I would pick up on it really well. I do have a couple decks, and I don't know what it is. I haven't quite gotten it yet, but I'm interested. Just like the runes, I am interested
Mm-hmm.
too. But
Yeah. I felt the same way at first with Lenormand when I started with tarot. I thought, tarot's enough for me. I don't need any more divination tools. But little by little, I I discovered how they all have different energies, different vibrations. The
yeah,
messages are totally different.
yeah,
And I do like Lenormand. But like in your case, there are some people who feel they can read with one card or two cards. But in your case, since you're like combining, I guess it comes from the same principle of combining different divination tools in your
hmm
case.
hmm
It's combining more than one symbol with the tarot cards to be able to extrapolate a message.
Yes, yes, because all these tools are talking to each other and they're creating
Mm-hmm.
this story, this message. And I love connecting the dots. I love following the threads and pulling it all together. Like it's really fun for me. So yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Any upcoming projects with your channel? Anything that you want to share with us that you might be bringing up soon?
So I'm finishing off the lyrical live stream. I know some people might be sad about this, but I'm finishing off the
Yeah,
lyrical.
you are?
Well,
Why?
hang on. So, um,
Music is infinite. It's
I know,
universal.
I know. So I don't think it's gonna
First of all, for people who don't know, what is, tell us about the show.
Okay, so lyrical live stream is something that I thought
Uh-huh.
of, and I've been wanting to do this for a while now. So I have a really deep connection to music. I'm sure most of us do. Music lives in a
Yeah.
different part of our
Uh-huh.
brain. It's certain kind of a medicine. So as I go throughout my day, I'm not even exaggerating. I probably bust out into song, I don't know, like 20 times a day about just, whatever random lyrics. You know what I mean? My husband is saying something and I'll turn it into a song. He's like, "Oh God, here we go again." But so anyway, I thought, wouldn't it be cool if we could tie lyrics into readings? Because really,
Mhm.
these lyrics that I just pop in my head or pop in a dream or I'm doing dishes and there's messages there that are coming through. So why couldn't we take those messages and put them into readings? And then, people are like, "Oh yeah, it's just what you need another layer to your readings." I'm like, well, I think it's cool. So I thought, you know what? I'm gonna ask Heather because Heather is our another lyrical genius. She loves her music as well. She busts out into song as much
Uh-huh.
as anybody else. So yeah, we had fun doing it. And the thing is, here's the thing. I I'm really trying to grow my channel and I don't want to do away altogether with lyrical live stream forever. But in the month of April, I
Pause.
really
Mhm.
I really need to Heather is doing a big move right across the country, right? So my co-host is moving and I don't want to stress her out with anything like that. Now I can just invite other people in the channel, of course, to do it, and we have done that. But I'm also doing away with StreamYard because I'm breaking up with StreamYard. We're over. It's done. We're divorcing.
Mhm.
I don't like it
Ah.
anymore.
Mhm.
It's way too expensive and
It's
it's not
gone
even
up. It's a
it,
pity. I
it
mean,
really
I like
has.
it, but the price has hiked a lot.
It really has. And you know what? It's not so much that I can't afford it, then I'm just boycotting it because so many it's really taken away a lot of people's voices out here who literally cannot afford it. And I'm like, I don't
Mhm.
agree with that. They didn't have to be so exorbitant in that. But anyway, so I'm kind of yeah. So that puts me to I got to find another streaming service and whatever. But what I've been utilizing is going live just on YouTube itself. And I have gotten so many good results of just going live directly through YouTube. But of course, as you know, you're limited. You can't do all these cool things like you can do here. You can't show the spinning wheel and all that. Unless I go live through my laptop, which then again, it would only be me doing it with a spinning
Mhm.
wheel and not a guest, which kind of changes the vibe of the show, right?
Right.
So anyway, there's a lot of stuff to figure out about that. But anyway, the main thing is this. Heather is going to be moving, and I need to really be focusing on making more content on my channel that's like video based and not so much live stream. I love live streams. I'm still going to do
Mhm.
them. I'm still going to be reading for people. I eventually want to bring I will bring lyrical live stream back. It's just going to be in a different way. We got to figure something
Format, yeah.
else out with it,
Mhm. Something
So
different. Mhm.
yeah, like even if we go live together, I don't know, we'll just have to like pick a song lyric a different way because we won't be able to share the screen. But anyways, so there's that. But yeah, in terms of the content that I want to make, yeah, there's going to be um some content coming out around grief. I've been saying this for years, but again, I it's like every time I go to try to create the content, I actually have something happen in my life where I have to personally grieve myself, and so I don't want to be so raw when I'm creating it because in order to get a message across, I have to be able to be in a certain mind space, right? So, I was going to go ahead and do it in July and my grandma passed away. So I'm like, but
Mhm.
that's okay because it's all building into the sort of content. It's all building into the material of what I want to deliver. Um, the topic of death, dying is really interesting to me, grief. Tying in the human body into tarot is something that I've always wanted to share here on this channel. I love human anatomy. It's fascinating. It's obviously why I was in the medical field for so many years. When I was in university, I just soaked up every single molecule of information when it came to science. Some of my science teachers actually like cried when I left because they were like, I've never had a student so absorbed in the information like you, and I'm like, wow. So there's so much that our bodies hold so many really awesome messages and mysteries that we're really not aware of. And I would love to bring that here to the YouTube space so that people can play around with it and, see what they think of it too. Because I
Hmm.
think the more we connect with our bodies, the better we're going to be. I mean, not only just healthy wise, but also for connecting with our higher selves. So
Hmm.
there's lots to unpack there with that. So there's all these different ideas. There's many different VRs and tags I want to do on the channel. It's just that all of my attention has been either at work or on live streams, and so now I have to kind of like pull away a little bit and refocus, and just space my time out a little bit better in the month of April. So
I'm
yeah,
very fascinated about the topic of the human body and divination in general.
yes,
You know, it's
mhm,
it's because especially we're not just a single unit, and what I mean is that we carry so much energetic information from our parents, our great
yes,
grandparents, and further back experiences, lives, and different emotions and things they went through embedded in their DNA coding that passed down to us,
that's
you
right,
know, and in the energetic level, not to talk about just only the physical and
right.
in terms of DNA, but energetically there's so much. We are a condensed product of people before us, so
Hmm.
so as our descendants as well. And it's
Yes.
a very interesting topic to explore, especially in the context of divination.
Hmm.
I'm very
Yeah.
excited about that.
Yeah. It's gonna go deep. There's like lots of different ways I can take that, and you're right on the energetic frequencies of it as well, as physical, of course. We literally have worlds that live within us. We have different biomes, we have different, like, it's just so fascinating from macro to micro, and I'm really excited to tie it in. There's several decks that already sort of speak to this, like the healing or anatomy oracle. There's a couple decks already that I've been working with.
Yes,
um
Claire Goodchild.
Yep, there's that one.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple of
Mm-hmm.
different ones that sort of touch on what I want to go on, and
Mm-hmm.
it's so cool because like you start working with the deck and you're like, "Yep, this is exactly what I've been thinking," and then you use that
Yes.
inspiration to go deeper, and I love that. That's great. So,
That's awesome. All right, so to close the
mhm.
show, we have this game that I always play with my guests, and it's called This or That. And I'm going to ask you 10 situational questions, and I will present you two tarot cards, and you will choose between them to answer the question, and you'll tell me why. Are you
Okay.
ready?
Yeah.
All right. Question number one. Would you rather take a selfie at the edge of a cliff with the fool or at a wild party with the devil?
Oh, definitely the devil. Yeah, I like a good party. I should say my younger self like a good party, but I think it would just be much more exciting at the party. Yeah.
Why is that? Bondage, darkness.
I think there's just a lot more to explore, more people to meet. I mean, the cliff. I mean, it's just the
Hmm.
fool and I. I mean, I want to, yeah. I think the party would be more expansive. The fool, I don't know. Like, I'm not really sure. Like, it's- it doesn't seem as fun as the devil for sure.
That's awesome. All right, question number two. Are you a shopaholic or a penny pincher?
Oh, definitely shopaholic. Yep, for sure. Mm-hmm.
What do you like to shop the most of?
Decks
Cards,
and decks and office supplies, so like pens and paper and notebooks. Yeah, I'm like a nerd in that.
stationery
Stationery.
items.
Yeah,
So
stationery
you
items.
journal? You like
Yes.
journaling?
Yeah, but not like one of those fancy journalers. No, I just have a regular like notebook like this, a spiral
Uh-huh.
notebook, and I have a lot of them around. And I like to like doodle in them and draw and write, and yeah, so I'm not like one of those fancy journalers. Like, you see so many people out here doing like these nice tarot journals with all this like washi tape and stickers. I'm like, oh hell no. I'm just like one of those, because I'm like off the cuff, like just writing, like brain dumping and automatic writing, and so I can't be held back by messing up a nice book. You know what I mean? Like, I got to be able to just
Mm-hmm.
get it out. And so yeah, I go through a lot of a lot of notebooks and pens and things like that. And I like to buy books. I love to read as well. So yeah, books, decks, and
What's
office supplies.
what kind of topics do you like to read about?
Psychology is kind of shocking, right? Psychology and science, anything to do again with the human body, and then some self-help books, but not nothing too fluffy. Like I like to get kind of deep into it. And like this book here, like The War of Art, it's an oldie but a goodie. Things like that, things to like it says, break you out of your creative rut or whatever, something to inspire you to work through your blocks and use your creativity. Some books on manifestation, but that market's so saturated that you gotta really know your author, because otherwise they're just selling you some rainbows and sunshine things. But yeah, a lot of different topics. I guess it just depends, but self-help to a certain extent, but more like psychology in terms of understanding why people act the way they do is kind of a fascination.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, anatomy. My mom's a nurse. She's retired now. But as a
Mm,
kid, I was always fascinated going through her anatomy books,
yes.
learning about the different systems in the body,
Oh my
the
gosh.
different structures. It was so fascinating, the complexity of like the images of the veins and everything.
That's my
And
world. I love it. Yes.
yes, that brings me back to that childhood memory when, going through those books.
Yeah, I still have my anatomy books from university here. I'll never get rid of them. And my favorite organ in the whole human body to study was the human heart. It's so fascinating, not only how it works, but the fact that your heart has its own electromagnetic field around it. And do you know that your heart does not rely on your brain, but your brain relies on your heart? What?
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So your heart is
That
its
is
own thing. Like, yes.
Wow, that's an amazing topic to explore on a show.
Oh my gosh, I'm telling you, that's what I mean. These are the kind of things that I want to go down the rabbit hole and see what we
Uh-huh.
can come up with. Yeah, yeah.
Wow. I'm so excited to what you can bring in the
Yeah.
future. Question number four. Question number three. Best plot for a horror movie. Judgment Day or A Nightmare on the Nine of Swords Street?
Ooh. Wow. I would say maybe Judgment Day, because why not? Like let's have a little wake up call and see see what it brings. Like that Nine of Swords, I've been in that bed one too many times. Let's go out and hang out with the angels. Yeah.
I will be fascinated if you dreamt of this scene and had a story
Right?
afterwards about it.
I was gonna say that Nine of Swords is too much like those fingers getting cut off. Oh my god.
But you gotta write it down. You gotta write it down so we
Yes.
can develop it into a story.
Uh,
Question number four. The universe hires you for a part-time gig. Which one would you take? Babysitting or zookeeper?
ugh. Um, Probably Zookeeper, because I've done my fair share of raising kids and babysitting. So Zookeeper, just because it would be cool to just be around different energies of animals. They have their own personalities. Yeah.
Do you have any
Humans.
pets?
I do. I have a little dog. She's a mix. She's not here. Usually she's at my feet. She's a mix between a Maltese and a Yorkie. So she's called a Morkie dog.
A Morkie.
Yeah.
It's a girl?
It's a girl. She's 10 or 11. Yeah, she's older.
What's
Hmm.
her name?
Keela.
Keela.
Yeah.
We would love to meet Keela one day.
Yeah, she
I
looked like
have
a little baby, a fluffy baby fox when we first got her as a baby. We got her right from the breeder.
ah
Oh my gosh.
really.
She's a doll. Yeah.
I have two girls also. I have a long hair Chihuahua and a short hair. But there's something fascinating about the energy of female dogs that are
Yeah.
different from males. It's something I don't
Yes.
know, much more. It's a warmer energy. I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's
Maybe
true.
that's me, but that's how I
It's true.
perceive it.
Yeah, her dad is the long hair Yorkie, and it's so funny because her dad is like this little long hair Yorkie, and the mom is a bigger long hair Maltese, and you're like, how did that happen? Like we were joking around with the breeder, like, did he get up on the step? Like, how did he like this little little Chihuahua?
Uh-huh.
Oh my
If you
gosh,
could
this little.
if you could reincarnate into an animal, which one would you be? This
Ooh.
wasn't part of the questions.
Um, Probably some sort of a bird because I've always wanted to fly around, but like a bigger bird because I want to be like a big bird of prey. I don't want to be like, I want to be the one eating the other stuff. I don't want anything to eat me. So like maybe like a big ass like bald eagle or something. You know what I mean? Like yeah.
Oh, powerful. That's interesting. All right. Question number 5. You are at a cosmic bar and the universe sends you a free drink. Which one would you choose? A custom made cocktail made by the Temperance Angel or a mystery drink by the Ace of Cups?
Ooh, I'm gonna go with temperance just because the mystery drink seems like someone's trying to do something weird.
what what's your favorite drink?
I love Captain Morgan and Coke,
Oh, really? That's a
like
thing? I
rum.
don't drink, so I don't know. Oh, Coke and
I
rum?
don't.
Rum and
Yeah,
Coke?
rum and Coke. Yeah, I don't. I was a big drinker at one point in my life. Like I
I
was a
think we've
life of
all
the
been there.
party. I was a life of the party. I'm telling you. I could outdrink most men, and like I had so much fun. Oh my gosh! But our metabolisms change as we get older,
It
and
does.
our responsibilities change, obviously. And so,
Mm-hmm.
no regrets. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. But, whew, uh, and now
You
my sons are like almost 17 and the other one's 18, and now I'm like, oh no, because I can see that they're, I mean, they're obviously they partake, they drink with their friends and stuff, but I'm kind of like, oh, now that I'm the parent, I'm like, oh, you probably shouldn't drink so much. They're like, mom. I'm like, all right, all right, all right, I get it.
been there, done that.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Question number 6. You're running late to an important meeting. Would you rather draw the chariot for quick transportation or the Knight of Swords for a speedy communication to excuse yourself?
uh, Probably the chariot. Yeah, let's just get there and get it done. Yeah, I don't like to be absent or late or anything like that, so the chariot would be good.
Mm,
Hmm.
I hate being late to places.
Oh my gosh, being late makes me so anxious. I have to be at least 10 minutes early to everything. Oh gosh, I can't even tell you just thinking about it right now is making my heart palpitate. I can't be late for
Uh-huh.
anything. I don't like it. No,
Definitely.
it throws me
All
off.
right. Mm-hmm. Definitely. It brings a bad vibe with you to
Yeah.
wherever you go.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
so not only are you like flustered, but like you're presenting yourself in a way to whoever you're supposed to show up on time to. So now you've got this
Mm-hmm.
all this energy that you're battling yourself with them. It's like just show up on time. Yeah.
Exactly. Just
Mhm.
5 or 10 minutes earlier, just get it done.
Exactly.
You
Yes.
avoid yourself so many things.
Hmm.
Question number 7. You're hosting a party and the snacks run out. Would you rather draw the Empress for endless abundance or the Magician to conjure more snacks?
Oh, definitely the magician. Yeah, we need the snacks to keep going. If you want people at the party, you got to have the snacks.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So if you're hosting a party for all of us, what things can we find at your party?
Ooh.
What
Um,
adorers and
I love taco dip. I love making taco dip. That's like one of my favorite things to make. With the cream
taco
cheese.
dip.
So
Uh-huh.
it has like the cream cheese, and then you have like the taco seasoning in it, and then you have like you
The
layer it. So
refried beans.
yeah, and then the lettuce and the cheese and the tomatoes, and then you like scoop it with the tortilla chips.
Mm.
Um, Definitely any type of Mexican food. I love it. So like tacos or like salsa and chips, but like the real salsa and chips, not from the store. Like
Uh-huh.
you'll make it. Um, and
Guacamole.
yes, oh my gosh, guacamole and chips. Yeah, things like that. Yeah. Hmm.
Hmm. All right. Question number 8. Your sweetie, we can say your kids maybe, spills coffee on a favorite shirt before a big date, even though you're warned many times to be careful. Would you rather draw the emperor to command the stain out or the hierophant to teach a valuable lesson in being more careful?
I say the Hierophant. I'm all about lessons. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because if you do it the other way around, like, are they going to learn from the mistake? They're just going to do it again. And, especially in being a parent, that's really
I
interesting that you
like
said
that.
the son, because it's hard as they get older because you have to pull back and let these hierophant lessons do this job, because if you don't, then you're really hindering them in life, right? Like you kind of have to let them fall on their face a couple times, and it's hard as a parent because you don't want them to, but at the same time you're like, well, I warned you. So
I love that answer, and it's so true.
mhm.
Besides, I'm sure you removed so many stains already from
Yes.
their shed.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, great. Question number 9. You walk into a glass door in front of a crowd. Would you rather draw the justice card to sue the door or the world to make it a global meme?
Oh hell, the world. Like I got nothing to hide. Yep, we've all done weird things in life. Yep. Yep.
Any funny ones that you might remember?
Let me see. Nothing that really comes to mind. Oh, well, although I was, let's see, how old was I? Maybe 16 years old, and I was outside of a car dealership waiting for my boyfriend at the time. And I thought I had my foot on the, sorry, I thought the car was in reverse and it was in drive. And when I hit the pedal, it went into the building, but not like too bad. Like it was
Uh,
just like enough to be like, like, oh my gosh.
oops.
And here, like, you're of all places because he works at like a car dealership, like he's a mechanic, you know. So they're like, "Oh yeah, you're dating a girl that doesn't even drive." I'm like, "Oh man, yeah, exactly." And it's just because I
I
was
love
distracted
it.
because like all the guys were there, and I'm like, so yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. I love it. I love it. And last question. Who really missed the mark? Fashion advice from the lovers or survival skills from the Ten of Swords?
I would say fashion advice from the lovers, because like you don't really know if Buddy's really dead there. He could just be plain dead. But the
With
lovers, yeah, the fashion advice, because I mean they're just just hanging out there with nothing on. So yeah.
That's interesting. People most of the time pick this one. I
Yeah.
guess he doesn't look that dead, right? Maybe one or two more swords will
Hey, and
do the
that's actually
trick.
how I read the Ten of Swords. I don't read it necessarily. Well, again, it depends on the other energies surrounding the cards, but I don't always read that as like a brutal ending. It just can be like, well, it's just a setback until you can regain your composure. But I don't really see that he's dead. I know it looks like he is, but
That's interesting. I love it. I
you
love
never
it.
know.
And it was amazing chatting with you. I
Yeah,
was
you
so
too.
looking forward to this story and from this show, and I learned so many things actually, not only from you, but uh different views on aspects that we talked about that I will definitely incorporate and meditate more into my life.
Oh, wow. Yeah, this is great. I love these kind of conversations where, you can really expand your mind and not stay within the box, if you will. And so I appreciate the opportunity to do that. Yeah.
That's awesome. Any interesting shows you'll be coming up participating in?
Yes, actually, tomorrow.
Oh, really? Tell
Yeah,
us more.
yeah. So I'll be doing lunar eclipse readings on a guy's channel named Moon Scarab. And so
With
come
us
back
again.
to this space to check it out. I'm really looking forward to that. This eclipse energy is intense. I can feel it already, but intense in a good way, where
Hmm.
it's really pushing us out of our comfort zones, pushing us past this procrastination to get things done. And so that's going to be really interesting to do readings on that. And then on Friday night, to encompass the actual full moon, Elizabeth of the More Intuitive Me is going to be hosting another moon magic where she lights the fire outside and we are underneath the moon doing our ceremony where we release anything people will need to release by writing their names on a piece of paper and putting it into the fire. And if people want to manifest and set an intention under the moonlight, we put it into a jar and set it under the moonlight for the entire evening. And so it's a really, really powerful evening of coming together to release, to manifest, and to harness the energies of the full moon. So I'm really excited about that. That's 8 o'clock, 8 or 8:30. I think it's 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time on Elizabeth's channel on Friday. And then on Saturday, back on my channel, I have the lyrical live stream again. This week will be Sarah. from Sarah's Rock and Writing. I forget what her channel name is. Anyway, her link will be below in the description for that. And then of course with Heather, Indigo Jaguar is going to be back with me on Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern. So that's it for now. But that's enough for me because I mean, I'm really excited about all of
That's
those
awesome.
collaborations. Yeah.
Yeah, so in less than 24 hours, we'll be seeing each other again, sharing
Yeah.
space here at the
Yes.
at this channel. So yeah, so tomorrow is there's a lunar eclipse,
Yes.
and it's the only one visible from North America in United States till next year. Around this time of the year, there's going to be another one, but yeah. So tomorrow is lunar eclipse, and we'll be having a show doing readings, drawing from the energy of the eclipse, and then the day after is full moon, and I think it's the full moon in Virgo.
Virgo.
Virgo,
Yep.
actually, yes,
Yes, the worm moon.
yes.
That for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
last total lunar eclipse that we had was almost 3 years ago. So this is like
Mm-hmm.
an exciting time. Hmm.
Yes, definitely. So please tune by, stop by again and tune in. So maybe you might have the opportunity to get a reading. So just
Yeah.
stop by. Everybody who stayed to the end, thank you very much. For everybody who departed, thank you very much for sharing us with us again. It was fascinating learning a little bit more about Ange. Again, if you're not subscribed to her channel, please follow the link below so you can watch her amazing content and get a notification for the upcoming new things that she has to share
Yeah.
with us. All right.
Awesome.
Again, thank you everybody for your beautiful energy. It was great seeing you all, and looking forward to see you again in another In Orbit with show in the future. So till then,